Mary's in Rochester now.
Oh.
Like right now.
Oh. Our little girl's growing up.
She's grown up, living on her own, adulting. Like she always has been since she was 3.
You know what? In honor of this episode, I gotta send her seasonings. Because I told her
Why?
that if you're gonna live on your own, Mare, and you're gonna try to cook, which she didn't really get that experience because COVID ruined her college.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna send you some good seasonings. Because you can't be the girl that puts nothing on your food.
Yeah.
Gotta know how to do it. And what's on theme with our show, our nostalgic show.
That is very appropriate. I made myself a nice dinner tonight in honor of the show.
Wow.
By nice, I mean one of my HelloFresh meals.
By nice, I mean someone gave me directions and the ingredients and
all the ingredients.
Put them together.
It was awesome. So there.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, 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 sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, chef. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. That's the drinking game this episode.
Absolutely. Corner!
Behind! Oh, boy. Oh, well, listeners, we are not chefs. Bridget might consider herself a chef. I certainly don't.
I want to be.
You'd be a good chef, I think.
I think I would too.
Yeah. Well, listeners, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where 2 sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And yes, chef.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of yes, chefs.
It's a lot of that. I'm like, is there a line, a quote I remember from this year? I feel like it's just that.
I just Googled the bear quotes, and then it just, like, National Geographic showed up with a bunch of bears.
Those are different. They don't say things. Okay.
Right. I actually want to reference one of Sydney's quotes, and I wonder if it's there, where she goes into, like, the lemon story, but
I don't remember that.
Can't find it.
Well, let's multitask. Bridge, what is our not movie this week?
It is the TV show from 2022,
Woo!
The Bear.
Da Bear. Sorry.
Da Bear.
I'll try to make that the last one. I'll do my best.
And here's a quick little overview, okay, of The Bear.
Yeah.
An American comedy drama TV series created by Christopher Storer, starring Jeremy Allen White, aka Lip from Shameless. I'm gonna butcher this name. Eben Moss Backrack?
Sure.
He was basically Desi in Girls, okay? All my ladies.
Wow, what a throwback.
And a bunch of other amazing people. And this show, not only is everybody like, oh, it's really good, it's really good. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
But we review nostalgic movies with thousands of reviews. It only has like less than 100.
Yeah.
But still, not one person that's like, I hate it. Everyone likes the show, so I'm just going to be the contrarian. Not one. Now, IMDb, 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's got more reviews.
Yeah.
The only critiques I've heard of the show are not, like, professional critiques. It's usually people being like, this show gave me, like, PTSD secondhand trauma from all the stress. And I was like, yeah, I get that. Very much so. Especially that one episode where it's just like, the whole episode is crazy! Ugh.
Okay, I would love to talk about the characters, and I also would love to talk about the thing that gets me fascinated is like, why do we think people are obsessed with it? Why do we think that like everyone agrees it's a great show? And then do you and I, as we start talking about it, actually think that some of it's people have rose-colored glasses? And other than that, I think, I don't know, I worked in a lot of restaurants, so I have a lot of stories.
I just remember you working at the Beach Club, snack bar. What other restaurants did you work in?
When I started bartending.
Oh, with Joe Pesci.
Hey, everybody's name was Frankie, Franco, and I was Bridget.
Yeah.
Yes, but okay. First of all, the creator, Christopher Storer, he did a bunch of other TV shows. You know who
wasn't
is?
he a chef himself?
So his sister is a chef.
Oh, okay.
He, though, has just always been film producer, director, writer. He did Rami.
Oh.
And he did Hassan Minaj Homecoming King that won a Peabody Award.
I didn't see that one, but that's cool.
Oh, it's like a comedy special.
Oh, okay.
And
and he did 8th grade. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't seen that
one. Oh
one.
my god, it's like Pen 15, but not funny.
Oh, no.
Which is, you decide for yourself how you feel about that.
But it's like, it basically, if you look at his history, it has all these pretty good stories that are like real.
Yeah.
Like, he seems to be somebody that's like raw and real. And so he has a big tie to Chicago. He's from Chicago. Or I don't know if he's from or he lived there. But his sister's a chef and she helped give access to like all of the authenticity of this.
Because that's another thing I heard was like that people who are chefs or maybe work in restaurants were like, yeah, this is like how it is. Like they got everything right. Again, I'm kind of like, oh no, you guys want to talk about it?
Are you guys okay?
I'm worried about you guys. Jesus.
Oh
Christ.
my god.
Oh god. Well, we have Carmey, which is the funniest fucking nickname of the name Carmine, but fine.
Yeah, I didn't love that. If I'm gonna have one critique, it was that.
His name was Carmey.
I was like, it's just like swarmy.
That's what I call someone when I'm drunk at the bar, and then they're like, please stop. And I'm like, shit, Carmey.
Okay, here's the only thing I thought about is like, okay, what's wrong with Carm? I don't get it. Yeah. However, he was supposed to be like the little brother, so I'm like, oh, were they like Carmey?
But then his sister called him that too. But I guess like she's older too. I don't know. We don't know. He's the new guy, and when the show starts, like, he's already kind of in the restaurant. It's, like, technically a sandwich shop, right?
So in Chicago, this, like, Italian beef is a thing.
Okay.
So you think a Chicago hot dog, you
Yeah.
think a New York City pizza, there's also, like, a Chicago Italian beef sandwich.
Okay.
And this is a real place.
Yeah.
That also sells Italian beef.
Do they have Ball Breaker and have you dressed up as a carrot to go play?
No.
Okay.
But
all right, still time.
I mean, you could come to visit, and I bet you Brian McBrien is there.
Probably. So have you been to this place, though?
I have not. And what's funny about where it's, like, located... So, watching the show, how would you describe the area?
I mean, they kind of make it seem like it's not the safest.
It's in a very fancy neighborhood.
Well, then...
It's located in River North. That's, like, Upper West Side of New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, how bizarre. But what I was reading about with Christopher Storer being obsessed with it is that it still is, like, stuck in the 80s. Like, even though the neighborhood around it has, like, gentrified and became fancy, like, this place refused to do anything. And that's a big theme of the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Carmey. Okay. Carmey's got some issues, and it's a fire alarm saving his life. My God.
And it's potential, not narcolepsy. Is it narcolepsy? Like, he can't wake up?
It's an addiction. There's some sort of addiction happening.
He's sleeping a lot, but he's sleeping at bad times, but he's not sleeping at all at the same time. And he's, like, super chill most of the time, which, like, also is kind of, I don't know, like, for me, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on under there? What's happening? Hey, how's it going? Like, but that's like part of his personality, where he just kind of like doesn't let stuff show. Tries to like keep it all in and bottle it up. And listeners, don't bottle your shit up, because when we bottle up soda and I shake it all up, it explodes my face. Okay.
Is that how you describe it to the kiddies?
Maybe.
Oh, I love it.
Sometimes.
But his backstory is he grew up in a family that cooked. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then his family owned this restaurant, and it got passed down to his brother, and he wanted to be like more than that, from what I understood. And so then he was like, I'm going to be the best of the best of the best. And then he goes and he's like an award-winning chef.
Yeah.
And there's like certain lines that like allude to the type of places that he worked at, but I imagine it's like the places that serve you like little teensy plates, and it's very like fancy schmancy over the top. So when he comes back here, his like obsession is, okay, I needed a break because I almost lost my mind from from those like crazy intense places. But he kind of falls right back into it. So I see this like addiction theme with him. Like he still can't let it go.
Like a work addiction?
Yeah, like the poshness is gone. But he's like using his brother as like loyalty and like, I won't give up. And like that I won't give up is also what made him such a good chef.
He's also like really likable. I mean,
yes.
I know I joked about him being calm all the time, but like if he was like a Gordon Ramsay and like screaming at everyone, like that would be the worst. And that only happens in one episode, and that's supposed to happen. They kind of build it up in a good way and whatever. So I think that helps. Like honestly, all the characters I feel like are like that. Everybody's like likable, even though in the first episode they try to make the original workers seem like jerks, but they're like, I don't know, they're like what, 25-minute episodes, and by like minute 18, like everyone's smiling, getting along, and I was like, all right, except Richie.
Well, we gotta talk about Richie.
He's a lot.
But the thing, part of what was his charm is he earned their respect.
I fucking hate that though. I'm sorry. Respect should be the minimum.
But wait a second. You're telling me you're in a crew of school psychologists and like the award-winning one shows up. Don't you want to see that person in action?
But I'm gonna respect them. I'm not gonna be a dickhole to them.
Okay. So I'm talking about respect the art. You're talking about respect the person.
No, they did not respect him as a person at all.
Yeah.
Up. And like,
yeah, they weren't nice.
Right. But then like it shifted real quick. So I was kind of like, okay, like y'all are tough. Got it.
See, but I took it as if they started to see how good he was and they were like, oh, I could learn something from you. Like now you earn my respect. Like that's the realness, is you aren't just accepted.
I think it's bullshit. So there.
Okay. So, as things go on, the thing that I don't understand about Carmey is he is very, like, giving to Richie. Like, I feel like he gives Richie lots of chances, and I don't understand that. Or do we think he's, like, a wussy and he's not gonna fire anyone?
Well, he kind of, like, fires Marcus, doesn't he? He, like, tells him to get out and all that.
Kind of, which made my heart hurt.
I know. Marcus.
Oh, who doesn't love Marcus?
He just wants to make donuts. Let the man bake. Come on. Damn, a man who bakes? Oh, I'm ready. I don't know.
Fresh bread and donuts? Get out of town.
Get out of here. That's my kind of guy, let me tell you. Yeah, I think the Richie relationship is kind of like you're a family friend and you were my brother's best friend. And like you said, because he's kind of hung up on the brother's death and like I gotta uphold in some way, even though he tries to change stuff. Like I think that's part of it. But Richie's a lot.
Okay.
Have you ever worked with a Richie?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So one of the themes that I read a lot about was the demise of toxic masculinity. Because there was a lot of pride that ruined so much of this. Yeah. It was like pride with Carmey, pride with Richie. Richie being the extreme, being like in your face, this is at its worst. And I would say like almost Marcus, if I'm being honest, at another end of it in like a softer, more sensitive way. But Richie to me was, first of all, you know a character is terrible that when they get literally stabbed. Nobody cares. And Carmey says, I bet you deserved it.
That's so fucking true.
Ouch. Literally.
Like, this man needs to go to the hospital. Hello? Anybody? Please don't bleed butt juice onto the food. Thank you. Good night.
Oh, I did read that Jeremy Allen White, Carmey, did his own knife skills. That was him.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they didn't have like a hand model, which I was like, I feel like that would be easy to do, but okay.
Do you remember when our family did our Christmas time cooking?
Yes!
I feel like they tried, well, I mean, I shouldn't say tried, because they did teach us knife skills. Did I retain them after aggressively drinking 4 glasses of white wine? I didn't. No. But I do remember the risotto was yummy. That's all I had from that experience. But yeah, that is cool, because I definitely, like, I don't know, I know I don't cut things correctly, but I do my own way, and it's slow and messy and inconsistent, and he did great, so...
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Richie. Richie's a lot, Kate. Let's talk about him.
Richie just is, like, doesn't stop talking. Like, if he was a kid, I'd be like, uh-oh, that's gonna be my friend one day, because he's nonstop. The man is nonstop.
Now, do we think, like, it was all insecurity? Do we think it was like, what the frig, don't change? Or was it unworthiness? Like, oh, you're this fancy chef and I'm not as good as, but you don't get it. Like, I was trying to...
I feel like it's all of that.
Yeah, it is all of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and you find out, like, really early in the series, it might even be the first episode, where Richie's bitching about Carmey, and he's like, trying to change everything, and this is bullshit, you didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, you know, Michael's restaurant, and like, you know, I worked here and you didn't. I've always been here. And then Carmey's like, well, why didn't he leave it to you? And then it's boom, mic drop. Mic drop, son of a bitch. And the reason he didn't get left the restaurant is because he would monologue all day and then we'd all pass out. Okay. Yeah.
But he is a really good, like, register guy.
Yeah, I'm glad that was his job, because when I first met him, I remember being like, what the fuck are you gonna cook? Uh-oh. I'm scared.
So, the critique that people say with Carmey is that he plays the same character as he did on Shameless.
Well, Bridge, we know the theory.
Well, no, I'm gonna argue with Richie. His character in Girls and this character, I think, are worlds apart.
Yeah.
In how they show up in the world. But under the surface, it's like the same type of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And like you could see it. You go to the shop and he's the guy that knows you, bust balls.
Yeah.
Or how about when the gun shot happened and he just like, or the line got crazy and he just went right out there with the gun. I was like, oh. I mean, I guess in some scenarios you need a Richie. You need a crazy.
I guess, but like, careful with that gun, yo. Also, this is definitely a place our dad would frequent if he lived in Chicago, because it's sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
He would frequent it so much that he would text Richie when he got there, wouldn't get out of the car, and would force Richie to hand deliver his sandwich out front. That's what Dad would do to Richie.
That happens right now in real life. Yeah, true story. Oh my god. I do like how they give Richie, like, depth, too, because he's not just, like, this kooky bananas. Like, you do kind of see... There's that one episode where he goes on a date with someone, and and he just, like, is talking about his, like, dead best friend, but in a memory way, and it's, like, really sad, and
so sad.
Multiple definitions of it, and you just, like, feel bad for him. And then you find out he has a daughter, and he's, like, super sweet to his daughter, and, like, ugh, man.
But he's pretty freaking mean to Sydney.
He's mean to Sydney and to Carmey, I think. He's just like a dick to anyone who's like new.
Yeah. And how about how he got all the kids drugged up with the Xanax in the cooler?
Oh my fucking god. That was kind of awesome though.
You ever want to calm down a kid's party? There you go, kids.
I mean, I'm just saying.
He was just so chaotic on so many levels, like even selling Coke in the back of the restaurant.
Didn't like that.
Like, just chaotic. And every time you thought, like, okay, he can't get any worse, he does. Which, if I'd argue a Shameless story, he's kind of like William H. Macy in Shameless. Like, he's the chaos, and then Lip, like, is really good around chaos.
Yeah. The biggest dick move I think he does is he doesn't give that letter to Carmey that he finds. I get so fucking mad about that. We could have fixed shit sooner! People! You could have avoided your butt being stabbed, Richie, okay? You did that to yourself.
He did it to himself.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought that was pretty fucked.
Bullshit. Give letters. That's a federal offense, withholding mail or stealing mail. Doesn't matter, there's no stamp. I don't care.
I'm gonna write a letter about that letter withholding.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Who else we got?
Okay,
I think
let's
we should talk about
Sydney.
Let's talk about Sydney. Sydney is fascinating.
Sydney has an interesting personality that I don't know if she's a real person in the world.
Okay, here's the thing though. I really wish I could find this line. Keep talking. I'm gonna look for this line because I think this defines who she is.
Alright, well Sydney, so she basically comes in the first episode and she's like, hey, I applied for, I want to say the sous chef position, which is like maybe the like, I'm the second in command type something. And so she's new too. And as we're kind of picking up, the staff at this place, we're not open to new. We're old and we're scared. So she comes in and she's just kind of there to prep the plates and do all that. And then same with Carmey. She does a good job right away. And then I think she earns a little bit respect, but not as much as Carmey, because she has a lot of episodes where she's kind of getting like hazed, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
By the other chefs and stuff. But she had real chef training, like Carmey. So they're both kind of from the same background to a degree. And so they usually are kind of on the same page about stuff, but then the other people, not so much. And then there's also this kind of subplot that happens where Sydney's like, hey, I got all these great ideas to like benefit the restaurant. And Carmey's like, whoa, let's just like stay afloat. That's a lot. I'm stressed. And then she like kind of pushes it, and then that causes contention. And then at some point, she ends up quitting. But like for like probably 4 hours. Who knows? It's not a long quit.
It's not a long quit. I have yet to find this quote, but I'm going to describe it to you. So she talks when Marcus came over, and he was like, I hate that place too. And she is making this like beautiful meal for him at her house.
Yeah.
And she talks about how, you know, he was like, why are you doing this like crappy place?
Right.
You could be working anywhere. And she's like, I realized my future was, I think she said at one restaurant, my entire job was slicing lemons. Extremely fancy restaurant. I had one job, and it was to slice lemons. And it's like this Mr. Miyagi culture of like, you have to do it so much, so it's so perfect every time. And she was like, I literally thought like I would die slicing lemons. Like, what is my life? But when she said that quote, I was like, I so get that. Like, especially Gen Z. Or, that generation's like, fuck the way it used to be. Like, this is stupid. Let's make it different. But I mean, Kate, you know my personality, like, I resonated with her because, like, order, and, like, she was, like, trying to be a leader.
Did you say she's a hoarder? What did you say?
No, like, order. Like, she got everything organized and ordered, and she was like, let's bring you to, like, the 21st century with, like, the technology, and I felt like she had her eye on the prize, so she could take the hazing.
Yeah.
And then she also earned some respect, like you said, in the process, but, man, did that crash and burn. And that episode, I read, it was an 18-minute running shot.
Yeah, I know.
Which Goodfellas couldn't even.
No, and
Goodfellas cannot.
That's why it was so stressful, too. Because I was like, oh, God, we're not cutting away. Something bad's gonna happen any moment now. Jesus. Sweating. I just felt like sometimes she kind of came off like she took the Xanax. Like, she's a little too chill. And I was like, I need a little more something.
You thought she was chill? I thought she was screaming at everybody at times.
Oh, well, maybe I'm remembering it wrong because I binged it all in like one day, like 2 months ago. So
you're like, everybody's chill. They're like, what is Katie talking about?
I don't remember the show. I do want to point out something, Bridge. You want to know? She apparently was a writer, and she wrote one episode of What We Do in the Shadows. You want to take a guess which episode it was? It was a recent one.
Was it Cullen's school?
Yeah!
I love her! Oh my God, my spirit animal.
I don't know if she was the only writer, but yeah, that's awesome.
Wow, that is awesome.
Go, girl.
I thought it was like kind of sweet that she was like, what do you think of my risotto? And he's like, it's not there yet. And he was like trying to do that, like, you gotta work hard, but I'm not gonna make you work as hard as like the bullshit I had to deal with.
Yeah, thank God. Ugh.
But she did still kind of rush it. And the whole food critic thing was bad luck.
Yeah. But didn't that turn out, like, good, though?
So, I feel like this is a big question.
Well, I know everyone got pissed at her, but then, like, it was a positive review, and then that, like, was good for the business.
Well, at the same time, they started the to-go orders with the technology.
Right.
And then he was like, we have 325 chickens we need to make in 10 minutes.
I hate that.
What I would have done is I would have just put a big, we're closed on the front door and had Richie stand out there and yell at everybody.
With his gun.
I'd be like, Richie, this is your moment. And I would blame it on the power or something stupid. And just be like, wow, we gotta go.
I did find it funny that they come off, like you said, it's like a mom and pop shop, but then at the same time, they have an active Twitter and Instagram account, which they reference many times in the show. And I'm like, wait.
And that's why he was like promoting that whole like video game.
Ball breaker!
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about Marcus, Kate.
Marcus! Marcus, don't you be sleeping again!
Okay, so Marcus doesn't have a place to live.
Yeah, it makes me sad all day.
And Marcus is somebody that just makes the bread. And he sounds like he needed inspiration in his life because he's got nothing else going on. And so he is very inspired by Carmey. And he wants to, like, be better and better. And Carmey gives him all these, like, tips. And he's like, oh my God, I can make the bread like this. And then at some point, Carmey says, like, hey, if you want to, like, do desserts, go for it. Like, he gives him some freedom.
Yeah.
But then Marcus gets really fixated.
Marcus forgets about the bread! Marcus, we need our carbs!
He was, like, weirdly fixated. Like, didn't get the cues that everyone's running around like chaos. And he's like, how about my donut? I'm like, Marcus, read the room. This is Aki's.
I kind of just felt like he was really buying into, like, Carmey and his, like, training. And so he kind of just, like, drank a little too much of the Kool-Aid.
Okay. He, though, I mean, they obviously have to do a season 2.
They are doing a season 2.
Awesome. I want Marcus to have more of an arc. I want more of a backstory for Marcus. I want to know why are they not paying him enough? Why can't he sleep somewhere?
Yeah. Does he have a car? Like, where does he sleep?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I mean, when he left, though, that made me so sad.
Yeah.
So, Kate, when I worked in a restaurant, the dessert chef in my world was a massive cokehead.
Wow.
And he
was probably churning out bread like that.
Oh, he would never be delayed,
Woo!
whatever. But he was so terrifying because when you needed dessert, like, you'd put it in the ticket and then you'd go back. And I remember being so afraid of him. And I was like, I need a tiramisu. And he'd always, like, scream at you. And he would just have, like, he would have mounds of powder near him. And you didn't know if it was, like, cocaine or if it was flour. You didn't know what was happening. And some days he just wouldn't show up and you'd have to make your own. And there would be, like, pre-made stuff in the fridge. And it was a much better day when he wasn't there because I was so afraid of him.
So he was like a Richie, but with bread.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
So I would have dreamed for a Marcus.
Yeah.
I would have sat afterwards, late night, and be like, Marcus, I'm going to try all your donuts. I'm going to try all your bread. I'm going to help you. And we need to find you a place to sleep. Who else is in this show, Kate?
All right, well, we then have Tina, not Trina. Tina.
Oh, she's good.
She's good, and she is leading the hazing.
She
with
is
Richie.
snarky.
Sure.
She is very snarky, but what you gotta give Tina credit for is she turns quickly.
Yes, she
because
does.
She's like, okay, Richie, moving on. And then she's like, hey, we're just teasing you, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But how about bringing your son to work?
Hate that. And especially,
Hated that.
it's like, hey, he got suspended, so now he gets to hang out here and eat free food. I'm like, well, that's not a great message, but I guess he can't be home alone even though he's 17. I don't know. Okay, put him with Marcus. Marcus needs some help over there. Jeez.
Oh my God. I felt this kid was just like, hey man, what's up? I was like, this is a bad day, Tina, to do this.
And then they paired him with Richie, too. I was like, no, it's the worst.
Ay, ay, ay.
Not good.
But Tina, I felt like, so, okay, you remember in the beginning before every time they'd have a shift, they'd have like a family dinner where they sit down and have the food?
Yeah.
I felt like she really loved the culture and the family piece of it. So like her bringing her son, to her, like the restaurant means more to her.
Right.
And like, now I want my son involved and I want him to have this like good influence. I want him to like understand this like bonding and relationships. And I thought that was so interesting because not everyone had the same like feeling toward the restaurant. Like Sydney was business.
Right.
You know? And I thought Tina added a really like beautiful human piece to it.
Well, and there were points where she would talk like with Carmey about his brother, where she kind of was like, did he like share anything about the finances? And then he was like, no, like, do you know anything? And she's like, no, he never like talked about that. And like, you know, and she was like, I miss him too and stuff like that. And she even references like his sister. She's like, why doesn't your sister come around anymore? Like yeah.
So I feel like she, like her hazing came from a place of like, this is my family and don't mess with my family, where Richie's was just like chaos. And that's why she was able to like flip when she's like, okay, you're serious about this place and you're not just trying to run it into the ground.
Right.
And Kate, talk about the real hero of the show though. I have his name as Abraham.
Oh, the Yes.
What
Abraham
is he?
with an E.
Who is the dishwasher slash...
I thought he was a cook of some
Well, he's
kind.
a cook, but he's like a catch-all. Like, he does... I don't know. What does he do?
I don't know, but he was there. And he's great.
What were the things he's doing? Now I'm forgetting.
Because he was the one guy who, that one episode, he kicks down the fucking door. Like, they're just having a normal conversation. He kicks down the door and he goes, "The ice cream machine's broken!" And he runs away. And then Sydney goes, "Does anyone order ice cream?" And they were all like, "No." It's like, what?
But I feel like he was like Tina in the sense that like they had seen it all.
Yeah,
and
the
like,
history.
They really grounded the anxiety.
Yes.
When you talk about calmness, I didn't get that from Carmey or Sydney. I got it from Abraham and Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the one day that Tina was like losing her mind where she like couldn't cut potatoes or something.
Oh, yeah.
But like whoever did the casting, mwah.
Yeah.
Because that's what's so cool about a kitchen is it's not just like, it's typically not just like a bunch of like teenagers and it's not a bunch of old people. It's young, old, every different type of person you can imagine.
Yeah.
That like they're lifers or this is just a situation or this is a part-time thing. I loved it. I thought they did it so well.
And I did like the two guys who were the dishwashers, and I'm just gonna say, even though I only technically worked in what would be considered one restaurant, they're the people that you be friends with, because they know what's up, and they're nice, and that's the same thing when you work in a school. The first people you make friends with is the secretary and the janitor, because they know what's going on. They know shit, alright? That's how I
And
feel
they have
about-
the keys.
And they have the keys.
To get to the place.
And the dishwashers will wash your dishes for you.
James, his first job was a dishwasher in high school for like some like, I don't know, like golf course thing.
Wow.
And he talked about that like eventually after like, you know, working and washing dishes and he was like 17, it was the first place that they were like, "Hey kid, you ever have a beer?" And he was like, "No." And they got him drunk one day and he was like, "Yeah." And I feel like that happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So the other thing that I liked the fact that this was like a beef shop and not like a restaurant because I do think there is something to be said about like the waiter and the waitresses or whatever, just the server dynamics
Right.
that I liked that we didn't deal with.
Yeah, and that just, there would have been too many people, because I can't even remember everyone's name now. You know,
I know.
Not
I know.
good.
What about the sister? What do we think of the sister?
I felt bad for her.
Me too. I felt like she was like
got
truly
shafted.
sad.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, she like is always there for Carmey and like doing shit for him, and then he's kind of like
Snubbing
aloof.
her.
Yeah. She's like, "I love
Yeah.
you," and he's like, "Okay, bye." You're like, "Oh, owie."
Well, and like he's like telling her stories how he's like, "Yeah, man, I woke up to my house burning down." She's like, "I just lost a brother trauma."
Yeah. She's like, "Can you go to therapy, please? It's free. Here, here's the address. Want me to drive you?" I'm like, "Oh no, this is so
Also,
sad."
she like was really trying to give him permission. Like she's like, "You know, this doesn't need to be a thing. We could just sell it.
Yeah.
We could just move on." And I feel like in typical stories, it'd be like, "Oh, you're giving up too early. Like, we're going to persevere." But like in this case, I was like, she's kind of right. Like, why do you care? Like, it's not making any money. Why do you care?
And they were like in $300,000 of debt too, right? To the uncle.
Oh my god.
Bridge, do you remember who that actor is who played the uncle?
Okay, I was trying to keep up. Help me. Who the heck is this?
Okay, Uncle Jimmy, who was the one that, like, it was like his kid's birthday party, and he kind of came off as like a Tony Soprano mob boss. And he's like, "I gave out the loan, and your brother never paid it, and there's interest, and now it's this much." And he's like, "Holy shit." And he was the one that was going to buy the restaurant.
That's right.
So this actor, Bridge, we did a movie that he was in.
Oh.
It was a movie that Dad recommended.
Like plastic?
Yes! He was Hector! He was the crocodile, like, fanatic.
Oh my god, I didn't put that together.
Yeah, we got a bear, we got a crocodile. was
Oh my
happening?
God. He was the super weird guy in that movie,
He
too.
was so weird, and he, like, was having sex with everyone, and you're like, wait, what about the crocodile?
Oh my God, how did I forget?
Yup, Uncle Jimmy. And it's weird his name is Uncle
Wow.
Jimmy, and I hate how that's connected to our dad as well, but okay. It's fine.
Wow. Oh, and then you know what, Kate? We forgot about Neil Fak? F-A-K?
Is this the mechanic guy?
This is the mechanic guy that's apparently always there eating Sammy's.
And, Bridge, do you remember? He has 2 cats. Do you know their names?
No! What are they?
Like, they're doing one of those, like, family meal things, and they're all going around saying what they're thankful for, and he goes, I'm thankful for my cats, Ralph. And then Tina goes, are they both named Ralph? And he goes, yeah, it's easier to remember. And you're like, oh no, that's really sad.
Wow.
I don't even think he got paid for this. Like, didn't he kind of say it was like a pro bono? He was like, I just get free food, but not money. And you're like,
Oh
wait,
my
is
God.
this a job? What's happening?
I feel like his character was like, I don't know, like now that we saw the ending, and obviously anybody watching this has seen the show or spoilers alerts, but like, I wonder if he's tied more in with that. Cause like, he was always hanging around.
Yeah.
He didn't really care if he got paid. You know, he's just kind of like lurking, and it's like, okay, so now there's some money laundering. Like, I wonder if he's a bigger role, and he's like, okay, I'm the accountant. And you're like, finally, now we understand why you're here.
He's like, open up my tomato jar, and now I'll show you the truth.
He's like, my plumbing supplies are actually dollar bills.
That would not surprise me at fucking all if something like that happened, because I had so many questions about tomato sauce. Those were clothes. How did we get the money? How did we do that?
I gotta say, I just thought...
We can't use that sauce now. It's all gone.
I don't think we need the sauce.
I know, but like, you can't eat it.
I just kept thinking, like, this takes the show in a completely different direction. Like, how do you keep the anxiety up? But I guess now it's just going to be with, like, people trying to, like, murder you because you owe them money. I don't know.
Well, I kind of love that, too, because I also feel like the whole length of this season, you know right away, okay, the older brother completed suicide, which is terrible and sad. And then as the show goes on, you find out more about the older brother, and you kind of get this picture that, like, wasn't that great of a person in a lot of ways. Like, he didn't do well with the business. He was into drugs, like, just a lot of things like that. And you got the sense that, like, he didn't really set Carmey up for success. So I love how at the very end, you find that out, and you're like, oh, wait, like, it's like a little redemption in a way, which I liked.
Yes.
I liked that a lot. I thought that was really fun. And would I have ever guessed the money was in the tomato?
Never.
No, I probably would have ate the spaghetti first, and I've been like, uh-oh, something's on my fork.
The coolest part, too, is that everyone opened the tomato. So it wasn't like, don't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is like some of the best parts of this show. Is like, there is no hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like, if you are in the kitchen, you are part of the mess and the glory.
We're all in this together. Get the tomato sauce with the money
and laundering.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
But I got, like, okay, so it's funny. Every single person that has watched this show is like, oh, it gave me anxiety, and like, oh, I'm so stressed out. It made me so stressed out. Kate, you know what it made me do? And I was like, this is how I know I don't think like people. I was like, I can't wait to cook. I was like, I want to be a chef now, and I want to go to cooking school. I was like, I love this. And I was like, wow, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Bridget, you want to go to the CIA, which every time they said that, I got confused for a while, and then I would be like, oh, Culinary Institute of America. Got it.
Yes, got it.
Got it, yeah.
I absolutely would, and there's a lot of references to Anthony Bourdain.
I know. I got that sense, too, when you kind of saw the, like, oh, I gotta go buy the beef, and, like, kind of what that looks like. Do it at 5 a.m. and, like, all that stuff. Oh, man.
Because here's what Anthony, first of all, you know my love for him, but what he embodied so well is he loved the process of it.
Yeah.
He loved the way that you had to go get the meat, or you had to, like, massage it for 3 hours, or, like, in this culture, because you're, like, the water's this, you get that. And this show wasn't about people eating sandwiches being like, this is the best sandwich I've ever had. You had a little little bit of that. But you also showed, like, all the rest of it. And I don't know, I just feel like that's where the Anthony Bourdain piece came in.
And the no sleeping and the chain smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, okay, think about it. Even, like, let's call out Guy Fieri, right? Even him being like, we're gonna go to kitchens and see how, like, real people cook. It's always pre-made.
Yeah.
It's always, like, ready to go. This show showed you, like, raw, ugly side. But not terribly ugly, like, just the work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's why I could never be a chef. Bridget, I'll make donuts for you at your future restaurant.
Oh my god, you'll be my Marcus!
Yeah, but, you know, don't expect a lot. Like, I'm on my own timeline, you know?
Oh, okay. I'll be like, we have 12 donuts available today. And we're sold out.
Once an hour, one will be made.
No bread and 12 donuts. Yeah, sous chef.
Yeah,
Katie.
Exactly. I don't know. Like, I guess just because of that, I felt stressed. Because I kind of felt like I would never like that type of job.
Well, the hours blow. That's the one thing that I always felt like is not appealing. But what else did we miss? Did we catch everything? What do we think?
I think we hit most of it. I mean, there's parts in the show where, like, Carmey does kind of... He doesn't go to therapy, but he goes to kind of like a group where he talks a little bit more about his brother and the relationship and the family, and I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, how you'd expect it to go, but it's executed great, and the ending's awesome. If they didn't have that ending, I think I'd feel very differently about the show.
Yeah, it needed hope.
Yeah,
It needed a silver lining.
I needed to be uplifted after I saw a butt cheek get shanked.
Oof.
Because I saw it.
But maybe I, like, took this show so different, but James was like, yeah, I heard the show is really good. I'm like, I'd watch it again with you. Do you want to watch it again?
Oh,
he was like, Jesus, Bridget. And I wonder if I did watch it again, if I'd be like, ooh, this is a little much.
I bet I feel
cringy.
the same. I feel like I feel the same because I blew through it. Like, it was so fast.
Yeah, so...
Well, Bridge, you just kind of answered it, but would you watch or don't watch?
Hell yeah, I'd watch!
Woo!
How about
Me too.
you? Yeah, I mean, if you have not seen this show, I think it's crazy pants you're listening to this episode without seeing it, but you should definitely watch this show. I feel like, let's guess how many seasons, Kate, because, you know, we're in podcast land and our episode lives forever. How many seasons of The Bear do you predict there will be?
Honestly, like, I'd say 3 or 4. Yeah.
Ooh.
Just because I don't know how far and in different directions we can go with this. Like, I think what you said, where we're gonna probably get into some, like, money laundering, like, keeping away criminals and, like, shit, like, we're probably going there, and that's fine. But I don't know how long we're gonna be able to do that.
Wow, so I wanted to have, like, 10, but I was gonna take a chill pill and say a solid 6, but you think 3. So put your envelopes away, and we'll see you in 10 years.
Put your envelopes in your tomato sauce. Forget about them. Write someone a letter and make it fall in an inconspicuous place and see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens. Kate.
Bridge.
It's my turn to pick the next movie. Woo! And we forgot to explain the nostalgic part of our episode.
It's our nostalgic happy hour. I've been drinking. How about you?
I've been drinking, and as a result, we forgot to explain. With a nostalgic episode, this is us taking a little bit of the what's happening now and just completely throwing out the nostalgic piece and just, you know, touching on current events. And I feel like we'll let the listeners tell us if they like it or not, because we did Stranger Things as our first one.
Yeah.
And now we did this, and we'll just keep doing it until you tell us you don't like it. How about that?
This is just once a month, listeners, so we're having this take place the last week of each month. All right, so yeah, and if you guys have recommendations that you would like us to do for our nostalgic happy hour,
I would love that.
Send those our way. Woo!
Please. Okay, Kate. Well, it's my turn to pick a movie, and this is a listener pick.
Ooh!
Which we have certain listeners that like we are way behind on, and I really know we need to like get our act together there. But this is one of those.
Okay.
So we're getting there. This came in May of last year. Okay.
Okay. Of 2021? Okay. Whoops, sorry.
And
is it Mel?
No.
Oh,
this
wow.
is from James, my husband, who
Oh.
I really feel like is, I do quiz him and he doesn't listen as much, but he also has to hear it live, as he says. But he does request a lot of movies, and we need to, I feel like every now and then, do some of them. So, This is from 1985.
Wow, 80s.
And this is, I'm just going to read the way that he described it.
He described it or the internet?
This is how James described it.
Okay.
1985, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
Classic. Okay, co-starring a very young Alyssa Milano. If you had to pick a movie that defined 80s action flicks, it would be this. You got drug lords, evil henchmen, guns, rockets, Arnold. It's a classic. Kate, what is it?
I don't know.
This is Commando.
Oh, I've never seen that.
You've never seen it?
Have you?
I guess, nope.
Well, that explains why we haven't done this pick in
But Kate,
over a year.
I also asked him, and he is going to be on the episode the entire time. So even though you and I didn't see it, we will watch it, obviously, but he knows it more than us, and he can get us up to speed.
Woo! All right. Awesome.
So there we go. Well, Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, I like Arnold. I wondeard if it was going to be Predator, because I think that was 80s. But,
Oh.
he was in a bunch of them. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Well, all right. Bridge.
Yeah.
If you were Carmey and it was your, I don't know what day, working at this restaurant, and I worked there, and everyone was being mean and hazing you, I would say, hey guys, shut up. She's great. Alright? She actually made us clean our fucking kitchen. I don't know why we didn't do that on our own, so go team. Because I love you.
And Kate,
Bridge,
if you were equally in the same situation that you were being hazed for asking your staff to clean the kitchen, and nobody was listening to you, I would jump out from the back and say, the ice cream machine's closed.
The perfect distraction. I love it. And listeners, if you also hate hazing, love ice cream, and are hungry now, you should write us a review.
Hey!
We love reviews. We love written reviews. You can review us on Apple Podcasts, along with some other podcasting apps. We also have a website, sisterswhoseenit.com. On our website, you can request a movie. Or, in the case of this episode, if you have a nostalgic request, you can leave that there too. It's a form you fill out. We keep a list of all the requests that come in. As Bridget mentioned, it's not sequential order. It's whatever I feel like, or Bridge feels like order, but
we're trying to get there.
You'll be on there and you won't ever be taken off till it gets done, okay? And Bridge, what else can they do on our website?
They can buy us coffee, which is a tip. Give us a tip.
Woo!
You like us, you want us to keep going, throw us some dollar bills our way. And you mentioned merchandise? Question mark?
I mean, I didn't. I would like you to mention that.
I'll mention merchandise.
Okay.
I am listening to this conversation.
Okay.
I was looking up to see if people bought any of our stuff. But guess what? We have Sisters Who Seen It merchandise. You can buy koozies. You can buy magnets.
Woo!
You can buy inside joke apparel. You can buy all the things. And I think you should get on there. You should check it out. We keep adding secret things. And we're just going to keep doing it. And then you're going to catch up. And one day you're going to be like, holy cannoli. And we're going to say, yes, chef, get on it.
Yes, chef. Yeah.
There you go.
So check all that out, and we hope to hear from you. All right, listeners. Well, we'll see y'all next week for Commando with Arnold.
Arnold.
Does James do an Arnold impersonation?
We're going to make him do one.
Oh, boy, we're going to do some hazing. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. Oh, boy.
Love it.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Bye-bye. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswhoseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.